Hey out there, this is Thursday, June 11th, 2020, and it is just about 8:17 in the morning here in Northern California. And today, as usual, I'll get into several different things. We got big in the news is the coronavirus, and they say there's a resurgence from all the protesting. National Guards got it. Here in Butte County, California, where we've got a population of over 220,000 people, 73 people are reported to have contracted the coronavirus, and one person has died. So your percentages of getting the coronavirus in this county are about as good as winning the lottery. And the other thing, of course, is Mr. George Floyd, who I think I could have been a good friend of. And it really hurts, you know. It reminds me of African American. I don't like that term. I mean, you know, they're Americans, you know, but they're of a different skin tone. And that I've known, that I've been friends with in my past. So when I see a black man, a white man, a brown man, a yellow man that I think I could be friends with, it hurts, you know, and I've known people. I got a friend down in Santa Cruz. He's a fellow landscaper I met some years ago, Charles. He runs this Alexander's yard service, I think he calls it. He gave me one of his business cards once. But he and I really got along right away. We started talking, and you know, he's a very intelligent guy and very open-minded and talkative, and so we made friends right away. In fact, I make friends generally wherever I go. Just last night at the grocery store, I met this guy, Jerome, I believe was his name, but we talked for a good 20 minutes in the grocery store. Just met, and but he turned out to be a hell of a nice guy, you know, and it's refreshing. And I think that nice guys are looking for other nice guys to mingle with, to hash things over with. And nice guys are generally also, by extension, guys that can be trusted. And nice guys are almost without fail, invariably, intelligent people too, and they're open to learning, and they are open to teaching, because the two kind of go hand in hand. But anyhow, Mr. George Floyd is one of those people I think I could have really liked, and I just love these big guys like him that are these gentle giants. I'll never forget meeting a guy down in the Santa Cruz area, and actually the town of Boulder Creek, which is in the San Lorenzo Valley. And I was just visiting the gas station there in town, and this big guy, I can't remember his name, doesn't come to mind offhand, but he was a solid 6'8". And the guy had to weigh 300 pounds, and he wasn't overweight. Just a big, goofy puppy dog among men, you know, and a gentle giant. And, you know, I struck up a friendship right away. I mean, sometimes, you know, the vibes people they put out, you know, it's either receptive or rejective. You know, they're cold and standoffish, and they don't want to be friendly. They don't want to be open. They don't want to talk about things. But other people you find right away do. And so, you know, I started talking to this guy down in Boulder Creek once. This was years ago, but I was having some serious issues with a guy involving my kids. And you know, just a long story short, the guy did turn out to be a bad fish, let's say, and got in a lot of trouble for it. And thank God I was there to protect my kids, but I had to watch over them like a hawk. But he, you know, this guy that was troubling me, you know, he right away, and we're both believers too. The guy's into the Bible and stuff, and he was right there for me. He was like, I mean, it wasn't like I offered to pay this guy anything, but he was just right there. Hey, you know, what's the guy's name? You know, how can I find him? And he wasn't the kind of guy that's going to be packing heat. He's the kind of guy that's got this formidable size that'll make a guy cower in fear just to encounter somebody that's telling him, hey, you better leave this guy's kids alone. And it was tempting. I toyed with the idea, and I thought, you know what? I got the Lord fighting my battles, and I'm in there. He's working through me. I'm protecting him. I got a lawyer. I fighting for custody, and I walked through metaphorical fire to look after my daughters, but it was worth every bit of it. And I would trade a moment, a time that I ended up getting custody of my daughters and raising them as a single dad. And it's just precious time. The heartbreaking part is that mom wasn't there emotionally or any other way for the kids, and she missed out the most. But she was stuck with a guy that was abusive, and she got that Stockholm syndrome. If you don't know what that is, look into it. I mean, there's a lot of fear involved. I mean, when some idiot a-hole of a man with a messiah complex tells a woman, hey, you know what? I know where you live. And you know what? You leave me and you're a dead woman. I mean, you can imagine the fear that instills in people. They say, yeah, well, it's worth it. I believe this guy. He's psycho. And so they get stuck for years with these kind of guys. I mean, to me, I'm so far removed from that kind of mentality. It's like, dude, if a woman doesn't want to be with you, I mean, that's a slap in the face. I don't want to be around her either. Go ahead. You think you could do better than me? Have to it, babe. Like that song by Tom Petty, right? I mean, hey, you don't want to have an attitude. You got lucky, babe. I don't like that lyric particularly. I mean, that's kind of conceited, right? I mean, hey, every guy wants to believe that the woman, that chose him to be his partner got lucky. Yeah, but you don't say it. But, I like Tom Petty a lot. I like a lot of his music, and I miss the guy. I mean, it's sad he died pretty young, too. Early 70s, if I remember correctly. But that's young by today's standards. Well, I don't know what kind of toxic food and substances he was ingesting, but you can increase your lifespan a lot by paying attention to diet, medicinal foods, and I strongly consider eggs. I've said this before. A lot of people don't think of this, but eggs are really a very medicinal food, and we generally think of medicinal foods maybe as garlic or oil of oregano, I think, is a medicinal food. Cayenne pepper, apple cider vinegar. There's just certain foods, herbal particularly, that can be very powerful antioxidants, and just they have just other really good qualities and characteristics. But the egg is really good. I mean, if you like to eat sugar, you should make sure the best thing you could do, and if that aspartame, I believe that keeps a lot of these people alive if they're doing that stuff, man. And don't listen to me about aspartame. It's in these diet drinks, a very toxic substance. Okay? If you listen to the renowned neurosurgeon, Dr. Russell Blaylock, go online, see what he says about aspartame, these diet drinks. And the kicker for women particularly that are trying to lose weight, it makes you gain weight. But it's gradual, subtle, so you don't notice it and you don't attribute it to the aspartame. But Dr. Blaylock talks about this wood alcohol that's produced from this crap, and then you're damaging your brain, you're damaging your eyesight, and it can lead to death. Not to mention obesity, which diet, I mean, is supposed to do the opposite, right? It's so ironic, it's sickly, perverted irony. It's just confounding, but that's the world we live in. It's a madhouse. There's another song from what's his name, Nugent, Ted Nugent. I almost saw him live. It was back in I was 19, so we're going back to 1977, and he was going to be playing at the Fillmore, and him and I think it was the Jay Giles band and maybe Foghat. I know I did see those two bands before. I can't remember the other groups that were with him, but that's one of his songs, right? It's Madhouse. And that's what we got, friends. I mean, look at what's going on in America. I mean, they're talking about disbanding law enforcement. I mean, I've got notes I want to write. I want to read over these things. But, off the top of my head, I can tell you, without a semblance, at least, of law and order, you're going to have lawlessness and disorder. Does that mean I support the establishment? Not at all. Quite the contrary. But remember, cops are at the receiving end of this whole thing. I mean, the policies that they're instructed to follow are emanating from on high by a bunch of psychos up at the very top. And they're just emulating their masters, even on an intuitive, osmotic level, a subconscious, semi-conscious, subliminal level they're not even aware of. They're not even cognizant of. All they know is that a lot of the laws don't make sense. I mean, take the counterfeiting law. So even if George Floyd happened to be handed a counterfeit bill, the guy was fully employed as a truck driver. He didn't need to be counterfeiting $10 bills. But even if he did, I mean, we still don't know if that bill turned out to be counterfeit. What, a $20 bill? What the hell's a $20 bill? It's like the equivalent of 10 cents 50 years ago in terms of buying power. I go to the bank, I joke with the teller. I say, yeah, give me 50s for the cash back or something. Yeah, 50 is the new 20, So that's one of my originals. But anyhow, friends, listen, we're in a whole heap of trouble. God is angry. Okay, figure it out. His wrath hangs heavy over America, particularly. We're an extension of Israel, basically. God is angry with Israel at this point in history. We're at a very special, unique, unprecedented point in history where God is in the process of putting his foot down, and you need to notice it. But that's what's happening here. God's putting his foot down. And he's saying, no, you know what? I'm not a paper tiger, and you're not going to bully around the righteous, the meek, indefinitely here. Okay, there's an end to the evildoers running the show. That's what's happening here. And remember the money thing, bring up the money. Everything has to do with the money. So what do we do about incarceration? So George Floyd, let's say he was a counterfeiter or some other counterfeiter. Well, they could make their argument to a jury of their peers and say, well, you understand, I mean, all I'm getting is debased money, watered down money from the Federal Reserve. It never ends. It's price rigging, price fixing, market manipulation. It's collusion. It's currency debasement through raising my cost of living artificially for a purpose, for a reason. That reason is to steal from me. What we have is a theftocracy. It's got nothing to do with capitalism. It's a kakistocracy, okay, which means it's the least competent, least qualified people running the show, okay, because they're not only the least qualified, least competent, but they're doing it deliberately. You understand? It's for the purposes of stealing. They need to create chaos, like three-card Monte, right? Like a pyramid scheme, a Ponzi scheme. They don't want you to know what's going on because then you're in the know. Then they can't pull their little illusory trick with you and make you think, oh, it's just normal. If you're complaining about capitalism, you're on American trash. Get the hell out of America. I'm so sick of it. Yeah, I call the Chamber of Commerce the Chamber of Communists. I don't like them. Even if I had no more than one reason. My hometown is Santa Cruz, California. They've had free parking there ever since I was a tiny kid. Do you understand? And the chamber, oh, I got a light bulb goes off. Let's charge for parking. Then they appeal to the businesses telling them, hey, well, you just want people that can afford to buy stuff. You don't want a bunch of hippies parking down there.